and welcome back to me talking about stuff outside in the cold. Reading and reviewing books thousands of people have chosen are the best in different categories. And yeah, I've never really been a fan of popular books. This leads me to the winners of the Goodreads Choice Awards 2020. Yes, I'm kind of late. The books this year were not as good as the one from 2019. As last year, I didn't read all of the Goodreads winners. One was impossible to get my hands on. One was too long, so I couldn't be bothered. One was a cookbook. And we had a picture book, and then it was the last book in a series, which, I mean, yes, I did that last year, just jumped into a series and didn't read the first book, but generally, I want to read from the beginning to the end, so I skipped that one as well. But yeah, the books this year, I read 15 books total. There are some highs and lows. On place number 15, we have The Midnight Library, which was the fiction winner. And this is trash disguised as psychology. Say it with me. I'm not going to say it again. Just remember that before you read it. It's awful. I mean, the premise of it, as so many times before, you're lured in by the premise. A woman who feels pretty rotten about her life and wants to end it, and then she is swirled around in different timelines, and she gets a change of heart. She learns to love herself and just feel better about her own life, about her friends and family and the choices she made. I mean, that's pretty innocent. It's a nice thing. It's trash disguised as psychology. And why do I think it's trash? Because it's a book that pretends to want to help people feel better about their lives, but all it's doing is calling bullshit to mental health issues. It says that, oh, you just need to look at your life from a different angle. You just need to smile more. If you don't take your medication, it will all be fine because that is dragging you down. It's just simplifying mental health issues to such a degree that I think this could do more harm than good, and that infuriates me, because when you're depressed or dealing with anxiety or whatever, you can't just smile and feel better. You can't just say that, oh, okay, but if I'd chosen this thing in my life, then that would have been bad, or this would have been good, and now that makes me feel better about the situation I'm in right now. No. Takes time, and this book does not do a good job at explaining mental health issues. No. Number 14, From Blood and Ash, which was the romance winner. This is Omegaverse smut. I'm not talking trash about that. That's fine. But the rest of the book isn't fine. It's about this chosen girl whose life is just about being pure, and she can't do anything or make any choices by herself. And this alpha male who comes into her life and makes her realize that her life has been a lie and she can step away from it. And he wants to help her get away from it. I feel like this is an okay book. Yeah, it's not well written. And the alpha bullshit that started out like fun and light, and I mean, I could accept it. But then it took such a bad turn that I just had to knock off stars just because of the last sentences. It made me really angry. And another, maybe an unpopular opinion, it's not really romance. Sure, there are romance elements in it. I mean, I can agree that it's fantasy setting, but the main plot is not the romance. The main plot is her realizing her existence is a lie and then trying to move away from it and losing her friends and following this guy that says can help her become her own person. It's not a romance story, but sure, fine. It's also more than 600 pages for very little romance. Number 13, we have The Guest List, which was the winner of the mystery and thriller category. Oh, I dislike every single character. It's kind of like a thriller drama. It's a boring story about awful people who all seem to dislike each other, and they're all stuck on this island with no mobile connection. So I'm just gonna read what I wrote on Goodreads. So I've read about 60% and nothing but drama has happened. I don't like any characters. The drama is too much. Apparently all men are predators, or at least all the women has had an interaction with a man that then feel unsafe. Also, I realized that I don't like stories that jump in the lifetime with no real connection. The last part has to be brilliant for me to change my mind now. Spoiler, it did not have a brilliant ending that changed my mind about this book. Now that I think about it, I had similar feelings about the 2019 winner of this category, The Silent Patient. I stopped caring about what happened in the middle of the book, and so I just wanted to get through it, and then I couldn't even remember it the next day. So that's a good grade. On number 12, we have Mexican Gothic, which was the horror winner. Here we have a classical Gothic tale, eerie vibes and like dark settings, and it's all grimy and everyone's annoyed and doesn't want to speak. It's very Gothic. I'm not a fan of sexual assault, which lowers the rating for this book for me, but it did bring me back to older stories like Frankenstein and Dracula, etc., which is kind of nice. So it's like high and low at the same time. My issue with this book, except for the male villain being a sexual predator, it was a bit too obvious what would happen. I get it, the family is evil, but do they have to be evil, like rotten through and through? Maybe there's some symbolism in that, but it just kind of got boring when you realize right from the start that this is a really evil person. There's nothing good about them. Like, where's the shock when they do something bad? Also, the love interest was kind of stupid and unnecessary. Number 11, Dearly, which was the winner of the poetry category. I don't really remember that much about it, but I thought it was fine. It was nice. And you might think that, well, if I don't remember it that much at all, why isn't it lower? Shouldn't that be a criteria for being pretty low on the list? Yeah, maybe, if not the ones that are put lower were such train wrecks that I hate and had stuff that I just disliked so much that I had to put them lower. So not remembering a book is still higher than really disliking another book. This book made me realize, though, that for me to experience poetry at its fullest, I really need to just sit down with the book and read the poems by myself. I think that's why I didn't remember so much, because I listened to it. Number 10 is Crescent City, which was the fantasy winner. And this is urban fantasy smut. Also, not a critique, just that's what it is. It's about this party girl who wants to get revenge for her murdered friends, and then the fallen angel who is put to just look after her and never leave her out of his sight. This felt like a standalone, and I'm not pretty sure if this is supposed to like have a continuing, like if there's more books after it or if it's finished. It felt like it was finished, but also I read that there will be more books, so it's a series, like a trilogy or something. But everything was finished in this first book, so I'm super confused. There's so much in this book, and it's fun, but it's so rushed that you felt like just this book could have been 3 or 4 books maybe. I don't know. Sarah J. Maas do get a point for that weird operating scene where Bryce has something evil taken out of her, and it's written as this romantic scene where they're both there and she's like pushing and it's like giving birth to something and it's beautiful, but at the same time it's super weird and it's this evil darkness that has to get out of her. I just love that scene. I mean, it's Number 9, A Life on Our Planet, which was the science nonfiction winner. This is a book where David Attenborough calmly explains how we are fucking up the planet and also how awesome the planet is. So it's kind of really sad that we are fucking up so badly. I love the parts about the planet, how beautiful it is, and how everything works together. But then in the environmental parts, I felt like it was oversimplified. First part great, second part lagging a bit. Then we have number 8, which is A Promised Land by Barack Obama, which was the winner of the memoir and autobiography section, category, whatever. It's too long. Come at me, but it's way too long. And it's just like the first part. It's not his whole time as a president. It's kind of a really short period for 800 pages. It felt a bit too unpersonal for a lot of it. Mostly just felt like he is still trying to defend his period as the president, and now he's just like in minute detail going over every little thing he did. I don't get who this book's for. If it's for the people that didn't really like him, I'm sorry, but I don't think they're gonna read this book and change their mind. I would have liked more parts about who he was as a president and his family, what it did to their family, the positive and the negative, because those parts are the best. And I've read a lot of reviews that say kind of the same thing. I did enjoy it and it was interesting to read, but it's too long. Number 7, Strange Planet, which was the humor winner. It's a cute book, kind of like Seinfeld humor, just making observations on life in general, and then it's funny. Yeah, that's all. On number 6, we have The Vanishing Half, which was the historical fiction winner. It's about 2 sisters from the 60s USA. They have black parents, but they are both so light-skinned that they can be taken for white. They take advantage of this, and then things happen. It's a book about the lives of these 2 women and their family and friends. This book has a really nice and calming tone to it just throughout it all, which makes it really pleasant to just read about these sisters and follow them through their childhood years to their adulthood. Sometimes I did feel like I didn't know where the story wanted to go, and not like in a, ooh, this is going to be a twist kind of thing where I can like enjoy that, but more like there were things that were talked about and they took up a lot of space, but then that plot line didn't go anywhere, just stopped, and then something else took over. Number 5, The Queen of Nothing, which was the young adult fantasy and science fiction winner. This one is the ending of a trilogy, with the second one being the winner the year before. And even though the second one was superior to this one, I would say this was still a lot of fun. It didn't have as much smut though as the earlier ones, so it's really fast-paced with a lot of stuff happening all of the time. It's a plus because it helped you just wanting to move along the story, just wanted to continue reading. There's never really a dull moment, but also a con because there's so much happening and you can't really land in one thing because they're moving on to the next thing. I feel like this book missed one of its strongest points, which was the relationship between the main protagonist and her love interest and their enemies to lovers story. Number 4, Clap When You Land, the young adult fiction category winner. And they... Hello and welcome to me editing. You might wonder why I would cut just as my cat got into frame. As I picked her up, I did not realize that I put her right on my mic, and the sound got pretty muffled after that. So now we're here just doing the last part while I'm just editing. I'm not going outside again, and I mean, I don't dress up when I'm planning to do a video, so why should I do anything right now? Let's do the last 4 books now. Like I said, number 4 was Clap When You Land, the young adult fiction winner. When a plane crashes and kills everyone on board, the lives of 2 young women are forever altered. One lives in the Dominican Republic and one in the United States. But somehow their lives are now connected with each other. This book is slam poetry at its finest. I did like her book Poet X just a little bit more, but this is still really good. I feel like you're supposed to listen to this book. Of course it's fine to just read it by yourself, but there's something extra when you hear the author read the book using slam poetry. Number 3, Cast. And this was the history and biography nonfiction winner. This is a really well-written book about the history of the US. Whether or not you believe in a caste system, what the author writes about in this book is mostly just fact. So you can take the caste part and just put it aside if you want, and then just learn about the history of the US. However, I do suggest reading it in small bites at a time, because there's a lot to take in and you will need time to breathe between the different chapters. Number 2, Such a Fun Age, which was the debut novel winner. I love this one. It's so amazing. And what I like most about this book is that it's not, even though we have a main character, she's not the one in charge. She's just there as a pawn for other characters. So she's just watching them through her eyes, how they're just trying to make themselves look better or make someone else look worse. And then just have her commentary to all of that and be in the middle of it. It's brilliantly written. It's also a lot of fun, so there's also that. On number 1, we have Heartstopper. Once again, the graphic novel wins the first place as well as my heart. I don't know which one of the Heartstopper books got the first place for this year, but I don't really care. I read all of them in 2 days. It was supposed to be 1 day, but I just brought 2 of the books with me, because how would I be able to have time to read 4 books in 1 day? And yeah, it's sweet, it's so cute, and the drawings are just lovely. It's a great graphic novel, and you can't dislike it. Why would you dislike it? So, there we have it. Goodreads Choice Awards winners 2020. What a ride. So many books that I would never have read otherwise. Some I could have survived never reading. Others have now fused with me and are forever a part of my body and soul. I feel like most of the winners this year could be divided into 2 groups: race and smut. So if you like either of those 2 categories, You have a lot to choose from. Okay? Bye.